All right, what is up, everyone? Darkside Phil here, and welcome to the very special Holiday 2013 edition of Ask the King. If you can believe it, we made another year. Another year of Ask the King. How long have I been doing this? Holy shit. This is episode, I believe this is officially episode 39. So when you think about it, at first I was doing it, twice a month? Now, for the past few years, I've only been doing it once a month. So you figure, this is like a 4 or 5 year series. I don't even know. I don't even know how long this has been going on. But I'm in a very festive mood, as you can see. Listen, I love the holiday season. I love everything about it. I love that people are nicer. I love that there's a ton of fucking movies and videos that are all heartwarming that I watch every year. I love putting up the tree. I love giving presents. And so my present to you, much like Oprah, everyone, I'm giving you $1 million. Everyone watching right now, you're all millionaires. Rejoice. And wait a minute, hold on. I just got an email from YouTube. All of my videos have been content ID matched, and I can't make money anymore, so I can't pay anyone. Sorry, everybody. I was going to give you all $1 million, but now I can't afford it. I'm sorry. I just had to do that. That's funny. All right, so the way we're going to do this is the way we always do it. Around half-hour increments, I'm going to split the videos. I've got a metric ton of questions to answer this time around. Like, the questions were outstanding. Some were about the holidays, some were about what's going on with YouTube right now, which, yes, we are going to talk about. Some were just completely unrelated. Some were about the gaming industry. So many great questions this time. Thank you, anyone who submitted a question. Obviously, I can't get to every single one, and I apologize for that, but I am very appreciative that you guys are still so interested in being interactive with me that you do submit great questions, all right? Now, what we're going to do right now is we are going to start the stream raffle. All right, stream raffle means the people who are watching this live on Twitch TV have the opportunity to submit a question, and at the last segment of this show, I will actually be going ahead and drawing questions from that raffle. So if you have a question, go ahead and submit it via the stream raffle. We do this every time. I swear one day we will have good questions in the stream raffle. It may not be today, but I got to be full of that Christmas spirit and be hopeful, all right? All right, so let's go ahead and get right to it because I got so many questions we can't dilly-dally, all right? Here we go. Question number 1 is from Merc I almost read his name wrong. Merc for Free, and he says, Phil, you usually have been complaining that the cost of living in Connecticut is really expensive. He's right. It is, and I have. Where do you see yourself living in the near future? Will it be with your girlfriend or just alone? I really recommend moving to Dallas, Texas, where there is less taxes than the other states, and rent and price of apartment or houses is really low. You would love it here. Well, Merc for Free, you're absolutely right. I made this big announcement in my Thanksgiving video. I don't know how many of you watched it, but in my Thanksgiving video, I made a huge announcement that as long as there's no kind of crazy, life-changing stuff that happens, I am pushing forward, and in the year of 2014, I am moving out of Connecticut to a less expensive area in the United States. Now, I'm not sure 100% what that's going to be at, but what I can do is give you some ideas, some areas we've been looking at. First of all, we have looked at the Dallas, Texas area. Absolutely. It's actually one of our top 3 areas that we're considering is Texas. Because we do admit, yes, prices are quite low, taxes are quite low, and it seems to be a very good state for those who are self-employed and or want to start a small business. And I've said this for years now, and I guess I'll say it again. My goal with this whole YouTube thing is not that this is what I do forever. What I want to do is be able to do it long enough so I can get a house, I'm making good money, but I'm also have less taxes, less expenses, and I can basically take some money that I maybe save up and start my own business. That's what I would love to do. And I mean, I have a cool YouTube presence. Why not roll that all into it? I could do vlogs on how to start a business and the stuff going on with my business daily. Shit, if I own a business, you can do skits in the business. You know what I mean? It'd be awesome. So that's something that I'm looking forward to in the future. So that was definitely one place, Texas. Another place we were strongly considering is Washington State. Washington State in particular, somewhere near Seattle, because obviously that's where it's happening. Again, low prices, low taxes, very good for small businesses, and the added bonus of Washington State is that in certain areas, they've got some of the best internet in the country. Like, better than what I have now. That's true. That is true. Seattle is one of these areas where they're testing that fiber internet that they have over at fucking Google headquarters in Kansas or whatever it is. They're testing that in the Seattle area. So that's another very strong possibility. Another one we've been looking at is Florida. because Florida is infamously known for extremely low prices. It's where everyone goes to retire. And quite honestly, from the three that we checked, Florida is the cheapest. But there's a trade-off, and the trade-off there is that number one, you need to get all kinds of special insurance because it is a storm area, and number two, there are storms. There's high potential that a hurricane or something could pass through, and it could be very dangerous. And obviously the weather as well. For me, that probably would be the weather I'd have to most adapt to, because I actually hate humid weather, and let's face it, it's humid year-round in Florida. So those are just three of the places that we were strongly considering. We are leaning towards one of those. I'm not going to tell you where. I'm not going to reveal any of this until later in the year when there's more developments. But yes, we are looking to get the hell out of Connecticut. Definitely, we need to go somewhere that's cheaper so that we can move on with our lives. All right. Next question is from Zakody12. And he asks, Phil, will the last console generation with the last console generation drawn to a close, excuse me. What, in your opinion, were some of the best games that you played? Well, I actually hit upon this last night in my conclusion to my best and worst of the last generation of consoles year-end series. I actually ran a series of 10 videos where I picked out one great thing about the last console generation and one shitty thing about the last console generation. And one of them was that this era, this last generation of consoles, basically pushed us into an era where games are going to be taken seriously, not only as a valid form of media, entertainment, and making money, but also as an artistic work. And some of the games just off the top of my head that really blew me away, the whole BioShock series, Uncharted, The Last of Us, Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, Mass Effect. Those are just a few, and I'm sure there's like 10 billion more. I also called out that role-playing games really reached like the higher echelon of existence now. You know, anything in the Tales series, any of those games that open world, Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey were by far two of my favorite RPGs of all time. And speaking of that, I noticed I bought them, remember, earlier this year for Downtime series, and I never got to them. I'm actually thinking that January may be the time that I do one of them, and if I do one, it may be Blue Dragon. I don't know how many people are excited for that. I know that RPGs, oh my god, it's the fucking JRPG, run for the fucking hills. There's no guns and there's no fucking, explosions. You know what I mean? But I loved Blue Dragon. It was one of my favorite games of all time, and I kind of want to replay it. And I'm thinking maybe January will be the time to do it because it is such a slow period of time. But I'm digressing now. Last console generation was great. We had so many great new franchises. I mean, the continuation of God of War was pretty good with God of War 3. Gears of War obviously was great. I'm going to stop now because there's too many. But those are some of the favorite games of the past console generation. All right. All right, the next question, of all things, this is so weird. The next question is from Anonymous User. Now, I don't know if he registered on my forums as the name Anonymous User or if he found a way to post anonymously. It's very odd. All right, here's his question now. He says, Phil, I'm wondering how you record and commentate over your videos. I personally find it amazing when I see these mainstream YouTubers who are recording and uploading more than one video each day, and yet when I try it myself, one video of over 10 minutes of footage that's 2 gigabytes in size can take the render time of over 5 hours to finish. So I'm really interested in your method of recording and the addition of commentary with and without live streaming. First of all, Anonymous User, I hate to say it, but for 10 minutes of footage, and you're trying to encode it like with effects and stuff, it shouldn't take 5 hours. So that just means that your PC, unfortunately, is quite slow. All right. I can tell you that anyone who's on YouTube and who's taking it seriously is probably using a much faster computer than yours to do the rendering and such. But the cool thing about what I've done this year and the video method that I do is that I'm not rendering at all. Right now, this video I'm making, this border you see around it, is all on the fly. I'm not using a video editor at all. I use a program called XSplit. And XSplit is a program that basically was designed for TV broadcasting, but I'm using it for obviously much different purposes. I just import this border and it automatically, puts itself into the video. So I'm not doing any video editing at all. What you're seeing right here, the work to create this video, is live. So that's what I'm doing. Now, other people use this other one. I think it's called, OBS, I think it's called. OBS. I'm not positive on that, but I don't use that one. I started using XSplit because Howard and John Rambo used it, and they basically walked me through the basics of it. And since then, obviously, I've done so much more with it. So that's how I do it, and it's on the fly real time. The catch is it costs money. It does. It costs a couple $100 a year to use it, but it's worth it, in my opinion. I've had an amazing year of implementing this stuff, being able to do stuff like this on the fly. See, my previous setup, I wasn't able to do shit like that. So, that's awesome that I'm able to do it. I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and that's your answer, okay? All right, next question here. Next question is from Genone. And his question is, Phil, why did you choose business finance as your major? If your interests were in video games, wouldn't it have been naturally made sense for you to decide on working toward the video game companies? I remember that you wanted to become an entrepreneur. Is there any inspiration or intent for this decision? And will this business involve video games, or will it be completely a unique thing? All right, great question. A lot of people want to know about my past, about why I did what I did, why I have a business finance degree and such. All right, well, here's the deal. I went to college in the year 2000. That was 13 years ago, and the whole landscape of economics was completely different. That was the time when things were booming, the internet was booming, everything was booming. Video games were nowhere near as mainstream as they are now. There were no universities or career paths that led you to game development and or gaming at all. It was not like that. It was basically what you needed to do was become a computer programmer, and once you had that background, then you could possibly jump into the realm of video games. So that's actually what I started going to college for in the year 2000. I was computer programming as my major, and I've talked about this before, but in a nutshell, my college that I went to, which is Fairfield University, had a piss-poor teaching staff when it came to computer science. Now, I'm not trying to detract from the fact that the teachers were well educated. Absolutely. My teacher was great at computer programming. He could, in a minute, whip together a bunch of shit, and he was great at it. The problem was he was absolutely horrible at explaining what he was doing to a group. So when I was learning computer programming, I was falling behind because I had no base at all. I had never learned anything in computer programming or taken a course before in it. I didn't have a basis of which to draw back upon to try to learn what he was doing because he wasn't fully explaining everything he was doing, or he wasn't explaining it properly. Now, the other people in my class, most of them had had classes in their high schools that had given them a basis of understanding what was going on. And I actually asked the people who were doing better in the class, how are you doing so well? And they said, well, we already had a class that explained the basics. This is more like advanced. So we're good because we knew the basics. You don't know the basics, so you're fucked. So after a year of that, I said, I can't do this. I was getting like C's and D's in the classes, barely scraping by. And to the point, one day I almost ripped my teacher's head off. I actually made him cry in class because I yelled at him, and I think he thought I was going to actually beat the fuck out of him because he was such a bad teacher. And I went and I had to change my major. And at that time, it was like, what are you going to change to? Well, I'm obviously not going to go crazy and go to art history or some shit like that. I need to stay within the realm of somewhere where maybe I can get a job. And at the time, the big focus at that college is business. They have a huge business school, the Dolan School of Business. It's well known in this area of being a great business school. So I went in this business school, and eventually I focused in finance. And let me tell you something. Even though I've never used my financial degree really for a job, I do have to tell you guys that I learned so much from it that now I'm able to handle my finances. I'm able to understand how things like mortgages and lines of credit and all this stuff work so that I haven't screwed myself over. And being that, this whole YouTube thing kind of just exploded in the past several years for me, and I was able to make a living doing it, I'm so glad that I had a financial background. I said, I'm going to put money into this account and save it up. I'm going to save my money here. And not that I went out and I said, I'm going to spend it here, spend it here, spend it here like an asshole. And the next thing I know, if this thing just went away overnight, which, let's face it, with all the shit going on YouTube with Content ID, I think everyone's kind of a little worried about what's going to happen. I think it helped me in the long run. So the second part of his question is, when I do start my own business, what's it going to be? My answer right now is I have no freaking clue, okay? The problem is, as I said, just think about that. In the 13 years since I was in college, how different is the world now? The tech bubble burst, all right? A bajillion of these companies that all wanted computer programmers all went out of business, and so people who went to school for computer programming are all unemployed, all right? Then the mortgage bubble burst. So anyone who was in mortgages and stuff like that, which I was, all unemployed. So it's like no matter what you try to go into, you may get screwed. You don't know what's going to happen with this world economy. So right now, I've thought of a bunch of stuff. Maybe I could start up a franchise, a food franchise, a restaurant. Maybe I could start up a local coffee shop. Maybe I could start up something else. I don't know. I have no clue. And let's face it, I'm not going to know until once I move, I'm in a place where it's a lot cheaper to live. I start saving up money and I get to see what my budget is. Then I'm going to get to start to see, gee, what can I really afford to do? So right now, I have ideas in my head, but I have absolutely no clue what kind of business this would be in the long run. Okay? All right, next question here. Oh, wow, and by the way, the viewership on the stream has jumped, so thank you, everyone who's joined. I am in a very festive spirit, as you can see. All right. Next question is from Filipino Gamer, who's asked lots of good questions in the past. He asked another good one this time. And he says, hey, Phil, I'm a big fan of your pro wrestling commentary show, Smart Guys. Whenever I come to the stream before you start, both you and John talk about random things. I was wondering if you could record that and make a pre-Smart Guys video for YouTube for everyone who wants to see it. What he's talking about is basically what I did today before I even did Ask the King. I did a little bit of banter with everyone on the stream as the stream filled up. And John and I do that for Smart Guys as well. And I guess, excuse me. Oh, there you go. Have a nice holiday, Bert. There's your present. John and I, do a little bit of banter. We talk about everything. We talk about movies. We talk about wrestling. We talk about music. We talk about the internet. We talk about news. We talk about everything as the stream builds up, because we obviously don't want to just rush into the stream before there's enough people and they all miss the beginning of the stream. No, I have not recorded that, because what I would need to do is literally start a separate recording, stop the recording, start the recording again when the actual show started. If there was enough interest in it, I probably would. Then again, I don't know if the people on YouTube know what they're missing. I don't know if a show of him and I dicking around, BSing, like me on this stream. I could have dicked around and BS'd on the pre-stream, and I did. I could have recorded it, but I didn't. I don't know if people would be interested in that kind of stuff. I guess if you want to know what you're missing, if you're a YouTube viewer, you got to talk to some people who attend the streams frequently, and they'll tell you. And maybe you go, I don't know. If there's enough interest, I might do it. Record the pre-stream. I mean, no skin off my back. If I record it and no one watches and no one cares, I mean, I was doing it anyway. So it's a possibility that maybe I will do that in the future. We'll have to see. Our next question comes from good old KJC609, who I believe has asked questions before as well. KJC asks the following. He says, hey, Phil, as you've said, you're going to be doing a lot of things with WWE 2K14, just like with the last two games. With that in mind, have you ever considered downloading a custom story off of Community Creations? There are plenty of them, and they vary in quality from something that could actually happen to making a diva give a blowjob to Mark Henry. Would you try playing a WWE 2K custom story? If everyone could excuse me, I have to stop the stream and the show right now because I'm about to boot up WWE 2K14. I'm going to get those blowjobs from Mark Henry, son. Yeah, let's do it right now. Would I ever consider doing a custom campaign? I would. The question would be, excuse me, when would I do it? It would probably have to be during a downtime. I don't think people would want me to push aside newer games and stuff to do Mark Henry blowjob campaign. I can't believe it. It was funny. John and I were actually looking a year or two ago. We were looking on the online community of the WWE games. One of them was like, Stone Cold is dead. The death of Steve Austin. I was like, what the fuck? Like, are you serious? Like, and they allowed it. They let someone upload it, and it was like the top voted campaign, the death of Steve Austin. So, I mean, that's cool side content. That's a cool idea. I don't know how many people would really be in on that, but it's definitely something to consider. So thanks for asking. We'll see. All right. Let's see here. Shoot. Oh, here he is. I scrolled down. I screwed up the whole thing. All right. Next question is from Alex Kid 93. Alex Kid 93, and he asks the following. He says, "Hey Phil, I play fighting games, but more specifically, I play Tekken. Blah. Although I am not an experienced player since I started playing only at Tekken 5, I really enjoy this particular series. So I heard of a dojo nearby, which is like an internet cafe, but also hosts fighting game tournaments, and I took part in their latest one. Awesome. As I expected, I got my ass handed to me after beating only one opponent. Well, that's typical. Your first tournament, you're just getting a feel for things. You're probably not going to do too well, but congrats on even beating one person. That's an accomplishment. It wasn't a big scale tournament, rather a small one, but even though, I found myself struggling with even pressing the buttons due to anxiety during my matches. My question to you is, you've been in several tournaments during your Street Fighter days, more than several, buddy. And how does one deal with such stress and anxiety on your back about possibly winning your match? Everyone's watching you play. How do you maintain your calm when you've fallen behind in the score and stuff like that? Well, you know, Alex, that's a funny question because a lot of people ask me the same thing about YouTube. They say, how are you able to record your gameplay and not worry about that you're going to die and lose and fail and people are going to laugh at you and stuff like that? The bottom line is this. This is how I always thought it. First of all, it's just a game. So if you fail at it, oh no, you lost at a game. It's not like it was a football game for $5 billion, the fucking Super Bowl, and you lost. And even then, if you lose the Super Bowl, it's not the end of your life. You know what I mean? There are other more important things in life than just this silly kind of sporting competition. What you got to understand is that you're there to have fun. So when you went there, did you learn from watching other people? Did you actually enjoy the feeling of sitting there and being in a competitive atmosphere? Regardless if you were nervous, did you enjoy it and have fun? Because there's some people that are in it for the wrong reasons. They say, I got to sit here and learn how to do this because I want to make a buck and I want to be internet famous and all that shit. That's not what you're there for. You're there to have fun and to learn. That's the primary reason for attending tournaments 99% of the time. There's a very small percentile of people who are ever going to reach that upper echelon where every tournament that they go to, they win. Okay? And that's what you have to understand. That has to be your mentality, is that maybe you may not ever be the best, but at least you can aspire to be better and you want to enjoy yourself on your quest to get better. So I think if you approach it more like that, not, oh no, I'm going to win or lose, people are watching me, and more like, ooh, that was a good move he just used. Wow, I'm going to remember that for next time I fight, that he could do that, and I'm going to try to counter it or defend against it. Ooh, wow, that was a cool combo that he did. And wow, I just did a really cool reactionary thing, and I won the match. That's excellent. That's how you have to approach it. Little wins and little losses versus, oh my God, I've completely failed and my life's over because I lost a game at a tournament. And I think that's the problem. A lot of people have this anxiety that they have to win, and if they don't, they're a failure. No. You know how many times I lost before I ever won? Let me tell you something. When I started in the Street Fighter community, I thought I was hot shit. I went to ECC. I was a complete asshole. ECC, by the way, is East Coast Championships. It was the longest running East Coast tournament and national ever. I went in there, if you can believe it, in a fucking bright Hawaiian shirt just to be a dick. And I walked in, I was like, you guys are playing this game, you think you're good, blah, blah, blah. They whooped my fucking ass. You know? And I lost so many times, so many heartbreaker losses too, because at that time of my career, I was really, really good at Marvel vs. Capcom 1, and I was always around mid-level Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I never really broke into that upper echelon, but there was moments of greatness where you were like right there, oh my God, you're about to beat someone who's a known player, and you know, you could really make it to the top of this tournament if you beat him and then you choke, and you're like, son of a fucking bitch, cocksucker, monkey fucker, bullshit, bumblefuck, god damn it, I was so close and I fucking lost, bah humbug. But then you got to pick yourself back up, and you got to walk right back there and take on the next opponent. You're not just going to give up or let that kind of shit get to you. And, I understand you're nervous. That's fine. Eventually that's going to go away, because right now, remember, you're doing something new. You did it for the first time. As you do it more, it's going to become more and more commonplace. Okay, I'm a regular now. I'm here. Everyone knows who I am. I may not win. I may not lose, but at least, I feel a little bit more at home. And especially your local scene is the place to do it. I tell you right now, the worst way to do it would be to start going to major tournaments. Because when you go to major tournaments, all anyone talks about is the top players. That's all anyone cares about. They get on stream, they're talking, there's hype and commentary, and you might feel like you got brushed under the rug. Like, who was I? I was one of the ants, and this guy was one of the sun burning down upon me, So I would say, keep going to local events. Don't get discouraged. Eventually you'll get better, and eventually you'll learn, and you'll be able to perform better, but just your anxiety will eventually go away. And again, don't worry about it like it's some huge thing if you lose. It's not. You're going to lose 1,000 times before you win. I've always said this too. You have to learn how to become a good loser before you can become a good winner. If you don't know how to lose, you won't be able to win. Mr. Insight here. I know. Mr. Insight in the fucking Santa cap. All right, I think we got one more question, and then we're going to take a quick break. I can squeeze one more in here. Okay. All right, here we go. I can already tell that the stream raffle is going to be great when I look at the chat briefly, and the first question is, Phil, would you ever screw a Japanese android? People are sick. You people are sick. All right. This question is from Muchi, and it's actually a very pertinent one. It's one that I get questions and comments on all the time, and I'm glad that I'm able to clear it up. So here we go. Muchi says, "Sup, bro? I've noticed that you very often, always, I don't know, question mark, order food instead of cooking it yourself, at least going by your tweets. Now, this seems to be an American thing, and it puzzles me. As a Dane," so he's Danish, cool, "I cook my dinners myself about 90% of the time. In fact, ordering out is seen more as a luxury here rather than the norm. I could probably cook myself 3 to 5 decent meals for the same price as a big tasty burger from McDonald's. Is there any particular reason that you rarely cook for yourself? Is it cheap enough to the point where the difference in cost isn't worth the hassle?" And again, that's from Muchi. It's an interesting question, and the reason he's asking this is because it's become more apparent this year than ever before because I'm on live stream. And what I've been doing with my schedules on Twitter or whatever, I'll announce, all right, my stream's over. I'm now going to take a break, go get some food. I'm going to come back. We'll do a second stream or something like that. So everyone's like, well, go get some food. He keeps saying, go get some food. What does that mean? First of all, I don't order out. A lot of people have the misconception that I'm ordering pizzas are being delivered and giant feasts of Chinese food and all kinds of shit. No, I very actually rarely ever order delivery. It's actually me going out to local businesses and supporting them. All right? Now, admittedly, yeah, it's fast food, but what I try to do is visit the places that have healthier options. Just yesterday, I had an absolutely delicious turkey burger from a local business. And I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. Turkey burgers, chicken sandwiches, chicken wraps, salads. Yes, from time to time, I actually eat salads. It's the stuff that you don't see on things like DSP Tries It, my ongoing series where I try things like fast food. That's the stuff that you don't see because, let's face it, who's going to... The delicious chicken Caesar wrap from a local business, who cares? No one's going to care because no one's here to participate in that local business. You know, it's the unhealthy stuff that I eat, rarely, maybe once a week for DSP Tries It. That's the stuff that you always see. So you have this misconception that I'm always eating the unhealthy foods. I'm not. So that's number one. Number two, he directly is asking, why am I going out every day to eat? Funny you asked that, okay? The bottom line, the answer to this is that I didn't used to always go out to eat. It used to work like this. In the morning, I would wake up, and I would usually make myself one of those microwave breakfast sandwiches, all right? I would go to work. That's when I had my office job. I would go to work. During the course of the day, whatever, I would drink coffee or whatever. Then at lunch, I would probably eat either a huge, giant deli sandwich that I made myself, or I would go out and get a deli sandwich from somewhere local. Then I would come home for dinner, and I would cook, and there were different various meals that I could make for myself. Some were microwaved, some were more cooked on the stove. There were things that I would make for myself, okay? And the problem was this is what I found. The amount of time that it took to cook the meal just for myself wasn't worth it. For me to stand there for 30 to 40 minutes, especially because keep in mind I have a bad back. So for me to stand there for 30 to 40 minutes to make a meal, and then of course it takes me 20, 30 minutes to eat. So you're talking an hour and a half just to eat. And in addition to that, Muchi, I don't know how prices are where you live, okay? I have no clue, obviously, in Denmark what prices are like for food. I can tell you this, in America, for quality food, if I go to the supermarket, it's incredibly expensive. Like, I'm not even joking. For me, I've actually figured this out. For the meals that I was making, all right, for the fact that I was, putting it into it, maybe the cost of that meal would have been, I don't know, to feed myself for the day, probably anywhere from, I don't know, $10, $15 a day maybe. Now keep in mind, I'm not just talking dinner. I'm talking all the food that I was eating during the day. Probably would have been 10, 15, if not more than that, a day. Right now, the way that it works with the prices of food that I buy, and keep in mind, I'm not buying McDonald's dollar menu, but I am buying from local businesses and such who have pretty decent menus that aren't extremely unhealthy for you. I'm spending anywhere from about $10 to $15 a day on food. So let's compare this. Wasting 40 minutes to an hour of preparation to make a meal that, and I'll be honest, I'm not a great cook, so the meals really weren't great, what I was making, versus just driving down the street to a local business, spending the same amount of money, half the time, if not less, to get the food, and having a delicious fresh meal every day. I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? Now, not to say that this might change, because the thing was, when I moved here, I did plan on cooking for myself, but then when I saw it just wasn't worth the hassle of the time investment, and if my back standing there in the kitchen cooking, I stopped doing it. But what I've been talking about is in 2014, if I move, well, now at least I'm living with someone. I'm living with Panda Lee. Now we can schedule out a dozen meals or so, which we're good at cooking, that don't take 100 years to make, but maybe the time investment's worth it, because if we're cooking a portion, maybe we'll have leftovers. So now one day we don't have to cook. You know what I mean? What I'm actually looking forward to doing, because I've done it once before, but I haven't done it in quite some time, is making a pot of my mom's family recipe sauce and cooked meatballs and sausage. She makes an amazing pot of Italian sauce. She has a very strong Italian heritage, and she gave me the recipes. I made it once, and it was actually quite good, but that was when I lived with 2 other roommates. And what we did is we took this giant pot of sauce. We ate it that first day with pasta. We stored it. We froze it and stored it. Later on, we thawed it out, and we made stuff like chicken parm. Then we made a meatball grinder. It's cool for in the long run. You can do that kind of stuff with sauce. That's something that I'm very much looking forward to doing again when I move next year, if we have the room and obviously the time to do it. The thing is, it's very time consuming. It literally takes, I shit you not, a day. It literally takes a day, a whole long afternoon. I'd start at like maybe noon and end by like 5, 6 p.m. That's how long it takes to make a good pot of Italian sauce. It has to simmer for that long. How cool would it be if I live stream making the sauce, the world famous family recipe, Brunel family, even though it's not Brunel, it's Salvagno. Salvagno. The Salvagno family sauce. Oh, buon appetito. Oh, buonissimo. I'm sorry, it's bellissimo. How funny would that be? Now, you want cooking with the king, that would be real cooking with the king, because you'll all learn how to make real Italian sauce. I'm talking, you take the tomatoes and you grind them in a fucking grinder. It's all hand done. So, it's possible in the future. I just could never do it here. Number one, my kitchen's not big enough. Number two, what am I going to do with sauce to last me like a month? It's just me. With sharing it with another person, it makes a hell of a lot more sense. So that's why, right now, it's not practical to cook. My back hinders me from cooking for extended periods of time, and it's not worth it for me to have all this food. Who's it for? You know what I mean? Versus right now, I run out the door, I drive to a local business, so I'm supporting local business, first of all, get a delicious fresh meal every day, and it costs me the same exact amount of money that I would have spent at the supermarket for the ingredients of the meals that I would have made for myself. So it's different. I don't know, maybe in Denmark, food cost is low at the supermarket. Here it's high. I'm serious. Like, it's ridiculous, the cost of food. And that's why a lot of the supermarkets have, double, triple coupons and freebie, buy one, get one free, because people need to afford their damn food. And it's so hard right now, all right? So, all right. So that answers your question, I hope, sufficiently, all right? And that's the end of that one. All right, so everybody, hold on a second. Let me scroll down. Yep, okay, that is the end of that question. So we're going to take a short break. If you're watching on the stream, just stick in there. I'll be back in a couple minutes. I'm not going to go anywhere for the long term. And there's plenty. Oh my God, there's so many more questions coming. Don't go anywhere. If you're watching this on YouTube, that's the end of this part. Just zip over to the next part and check it out. Okay, everyone? Thanks for watching. I'll be right back. Ho, ho, ho.